Now, I want to get right to this. David Petraeus has been speaking directly to our own Kyra Phillips, apparently, since the scandal broke about his affair and the scandal that brought down the former CIA director. And Kyra's on the phone right now to share some of the conversations that she's been having with Petraeus. Thank you so much for calling in on a day that's supposed to be your off day, right? You know,
That's okay, Robin.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the nature of your conversations. Have they changed in the following days where information has come out?
Yeah, I do have some new information, and let me just first say, Robin, that, you know, it's been really disappointing and shocking to learn about this. I think even more so shocking because this is somebody of great discipline and great leadership, and I never, ever expected, of all the men and women I know in uniform, this is an individual that I never would have expected this to happen. With that said, you know, in our first conversation, he had told me he had engaged in something dishonorable, and he sought to do the honorable thing in response, and that was to come forward. He was very clear that he screwed up terribly, that it was all his fault, and even that he felt fortunate to have a wife who is far better than he deserves. Obviously, he's taking it really hard. He knows he made a big mistake, and he does want to move forward, making things work with his family. He doesn't want to throw 37 years out the window with his wife.
You know, on the surface, it looks like a story about an extramarital affair, but there are concerns about security clearance. Did he talk about Paula Broadwell? Did she have access to information that other people did not, the public did not, especially regarding Benghazi? Because I think some people feel that she seemingly alluded to some information that she had in a speech recently.
Correct. And I will say, Robin, that he has insisted to me that he has never passed classified information to Paula Broadwell. And as long as I have known him, he has never wavered on classified information, ever. And to the best of my knowledge, you know, that has always been sacrosanct. And I also have never known him to tell me something that is not true, Robin.
Yeah, did he say about how this may relate to Benghazi? I know he has to testify this week about Benghazi, and you wonder about the scandal, too.
Yes, and he has said this has nothing to do with Benghazi, and he wants to testify. He will testify. He has maintained to me all along that this was a personal failing, Robin, which, as I've said, to me was quite stunning, and to many other people. He's not the type of person that I've ever known to fail at anything, knowing him as long as I have over the years. And so he has made it very clear that this was about an extramarital affair and not overclassified information or Benghazi.
So did he say, you know, details like how long this affair has gone on? Are we talking an extramarital sexual affair? Are we talking an emotional affair where you divulge and rely on someone else other than your spouse?
Sure. I think it's fair to say it was emotional, Robin. He's known her since 2006. The relationship did not begin until after he was out of the military. And, you know, I think there's a couple, I mean, personally, I would like to say I have never known him to be a flirtatious person. I have never known him to be inappropriate. And I think that was why this was so shocking on many levels. I think it's important that we need to hear from Paula Broadwell. We still have not heard from her. I do know that people within his inner circle have described her to be an aggressive woman, someone who, quote, unquote, works her magic, not taking Petraeus off the hook at all. But there are two people, obviously, in this situation, and he is saying it's all his fault. But I think it's important to see that there's another person involved, and we hope to hear from her as well and her side.
Kyra, how about him? Has he heard from Paula Broadwell?
They have not talked since this story broke. They talked a couple of times when he ended this relationship, which was a couple months ago, but they have not talked since this story has broke.
You know, I wonder if he feels, and I don't know if you talked about this, if he feels it is fair that he resigned a military position over a marital issue.
He never tried to convince James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, that he should keep his job. He it became very clear to me that he knew he was at fault. He could not maintain that position, and he never tried to convince his boss that he should stay, Robin.
So in the outside world, if people have an extramarital affair, it is considered despicable, but it's not something generally your boss will fire you over. Did he discuss how it's different in the military, how they're held to a different standard?
Well, he's in the CIA. He was the head of the CIA, and you have to. I mean, you are in charge of classified information, of the most secret things in this country and across the world, and you have to be an individual that is upstanding, that has ethics, that is honest in every part of your life. And I think that he knew he could not continue in that position after what he had done.
And I gather, too, that there was concerns of someone of that position that an extramarital affair might leave you open to things like blackmail or, you don't know who you're dealing with here or what kind of information that they may get. What kind of ties did he say he had to Jill Kelley, the woman who complained about emails that were harassing her and ended up being from his mistress, Paula Broadwell?
Yeah, this, as far as I know and what he has told me, that he and his family were friends with Jill Kelley and her husband, that they spent social time together, and Paula Broadwell felt threatened by that. And that is why she pursued Jill Kelley. But that's it. That's the only. That's as far as we went in that discussion.
There are national affairs to consider here because this is the former director now of the CIA. But on a personal level, any indication about how his poor wife is doing? Like, is she saying she's going to stay together? How are they handling this?
That's a great question. Holly is a lot of people have described her, and when I've seen her or heard her speak, she has a very sweet presence about her, a calm presence about her. But let me tell you, when it comes to fighting for military families, Robin, she is fierce. I mean, she's a fierce advocate for military families and has been very involved in financial scams toward military families. So this woman is strong. She knows what she wants. She's obviously, according to people that know her well, not happy about this. Very, very upset about this. It's disrupted the whole family dynamic. I do not know if she's committed to working this out with Petraeus. I have not talked to her directly, but I do know that Dave Petraeus does not want to throw 37 years away and would really like to make this work and make things right with his family.
And how much can you tell us, Kyra, about, just to give us some background about how these conversations with David Petraeus, between you and David Petraeus, came about in your work as a journalist for years here at CNN and HLN? This is someone that you cultivated as a source you would go to for military stories, or what?
Yes, and I've had a very good professional relationship with General Petraeus since he took over as commander in Iraq. You may remember the exclusive 30-minute live interview I had with him on the 5th anniversary of the Iraq War. And since then, Robin, I've kept in touch with him. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of stories on our wounded warriors, something that's close to your heart, mm-hmm. And the challenges in Afghanistan. I even introduced him as the guest of honor at the TAPS Gala in 2010. That's a tragedy assistance program for survivors, a charity that I'm very heavily involved with. We do a lot of counseling for military families, those who have lost a loved one to suicide. In particular, we work a lot with the kids. Mm-hmm. So we've always had a great measure of respect for each other. Needless to say, I'm shocked at his behavior, and he's the last person I would have ever expected to blow his distinguished career up over an affair. This guy walked on water, and it's beyond explanation.
You're the lone journalist here to get access to him and to talk to him. Did it seem to be that there was a message that he was trying to get out, perhaps through your conversations before he goes into these Benghazi hearings?
I don't think so, because we didn't even talk about Benghazi at the beginning. It mm-hmm. was more of, oh, my God, I'm in shock. I am sick about this. What the hell happened? And that's how our conversations began. So, and then as things got more complicated, it got deeper, it got more intense. I started asking him more direct questions.
Yeah.
And, you know, he'll answer me when he's comfortable, and if he doesn't want to answer something, he won't lie to me.
You know, it must have been amazing to hear what he said to your questions. Kyra, really fast here, some bullet points about what you think are the headlines of your conversation with him. For us, the breaking news is that you have had a conversation with David Petraeus, some ongoing conversations ever since this scandal broke. Tell me what you think the big bullet points of the information were.
That this was not about Benghazi as he gets ready to testify, and that he has never passed classified information on the Paula Broadwell.
Very good. Thank you so much, Kyra. We
bet,
really
Robin.
appreciate, first of all, you sharing the information, you know, working hard on these uncomfortable conversations. It has to be when you're talking to someone who's a source and that you've, you know, done stories with before, and you had to ask the tough questions, and we're so appreciative that you did. Kyra, thank you.
Robin, you bet. I guess we all fight our demons, right? No one's perfect.
That's true. All right. Thank you very much. Now we're going to take a